Hi guys, well for November we're not going to do a build guide, we're actually going to build a PC. Hi guys and welcome back to Backaby on Tech. So I don't know, some of you who watch the channel might have noticed me talking about I had to build a PC this month, so these are all the parts. Amazon's finally re-delivered the case, this time undamaged, which is great. It's a bit of a mix mash of components, so I'm going to run through the components, but first of all I'm going to talk a little bit about what the computer is for, who it's being built for. So basically I'm building a computer as a sort of Christmas present, if you like, for a family friend. Now this friend's got a son, so the PC's for her son. He's a console gamer, so he's wanting to get out of console gaming and into PC gaming. So she had limited funds, which is why a lot of these choices were made. A lot of you are not going to agree with the motherboard choice or the CPU choice, but that was funds limited basically. If I was building a gaming PC, I wouldn't pick these components to put it in it just now, but like I said, it was funds limited, and this is going to give him a platform, get him away from console gaming, and that's the main thing really, as far as I'm concerned. So let's start off with the motherboard and the CPU, guys, if you give me 1 minute. So here we go. We're actually going to be using my old motherboard for my gaming rig. So we're going to be using my old Asus M5A99X Evo R2, which is a solid board. I've had no problems with this board, which in turn means that we are using my old FX 6300. And this is the thing I think most of you are going to disagree with, you know, and I agree with that. I would not, if I was building a new gaming rig just now, I would not choose these components to put in it, but that's what I had on hand. It saved her some money, and it means you can get the PC done. So, you know, it'll do the job. It's overclocked at the moment to 4.6 gigahertz. So I've got no worries about that. It was serving me well until I decided to upgrade, so I don't have a problem with using this board at all. I think it's going to be fine. So with that, we're going to be using a 16 gig kit. 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance LP DDR3 1866 memory. Again, this is my old memory, so that's just going to go back into the motherboard. Now we're getting on to the new components, and I had a choice in some of these. You know, she was asking me for my advice, so I tried to pick sort of not budget components, but components that were sort of good value for money basically, and that would also allow him to upgrade in the future. So here we go. So we're going to start off with power supply. So I went with a Cooler Master G650M. It's a really solid power supply. There's a few reasons I went for this. One being the cost. This power supply cost me £56 on Amazon, so it's an absolute bargain. One of the other reasons I went with it is because it's 80+ bronze certified, which is a great thing, so it's going to keep those power bills down. And the other main reason I went with this power supply is because it's semi-modular. So that is going to be so handy when we come to build and when we're doing the cable routing. So next, guys, we're going to get down to CPU cooling. So I was going to leave in my old Noctua U14S because I got a new one for my X99 rig. I decided not to do that, and that was mainly an aesthetic choice, because I didn't want I don't want a big industrial beige kind of cooler in there, you know. So he's coming from console gaming to PC gaming, and I want something to look a bit slicker, a bit cooler. You know, he's not into PCs. He doesn't understand about the the cooling performance something like the Noctua would give, whereas it's just a big, ugly looking cooler basically. So what I did was I went with the Antec H1200 Water Cooler Pro. This thing gets really good reviews. It's 240mm rad. It's got 2 LED fans, and you know, Antec are well known for their build quality. So I've got no problems in using this cooler whatsoever. It was also a bargain. It was actually £60, so very good deal. And it's going to look pretty cool in the rig. You know, the fans light up, the actual pump has Antec written on it, and that lights up as well. And I think that's going to look a hell of a lot better than a big silver and beige cooler. Now we're getting to the good stuff, guys. So you'll have seen this previously. This is the RX 480 that I got that overclock out of. So this bad boy is going into that rig. So the advantage I have now is I know how far I can push this card. I know the card works. I know all the parts work, so I don't have to breadboard the system. I can just go ahead and put it all together. Storage, guys, this is pretty dull. So we have a 240GB SSD from Patriot. It's not super fast, but it's a hell of a lot faster than he's used to. And that's going to be our boot drive, and it's going to have a few other programs on it as well. Secondly, for mass storage, now this is actually one of my old hard drives, so I'm repurposing this. This is a 2TB 7200 RPM SAT3 drive, and that is going to be his mass storage drive, so that's going in as well. So he's going to have plenty of storage. Now the case, this is the next thing. Now this actually is the second one I've had. The first one arrived about 5 days ago, and it had a huge, and I mean huge hole in the box. So I got onto Amazon, they were really good. They picked it up the next day, took it away. They actually posted one out to me that as soon as I told them I was wanting to send this back, so it was a day before it actually was picked up. And this time it came packaged really well. It came in a giant box, and inside that box there was lots of foam, and then this box was inside it. So this is a case I'm not familiar with at all. This is the Thermaltake Versa C22. So I've had it out of the box just to check that everything's okay with it. It looks fine. It's a pretty cool looking mid-tower, I would say. I would say, however, that it's been a long time since I've built with a case, a mid-tower for a start, and a case in this price range. So this case was £63. It's since gone up in price on Amazon. I purchased this as a pre-order for my friend. So we got a reasonable deal on that. We got sort of £7 off the price. Now the reason we went with this is because it's got an all acrylic side panel, and you'll see at the end, but the top panel and the front panel are laced with LEDs, so you get this really cool rainbow effect, which is another reason I wanted to go with the water cooler and have some light inside of the case rather than just have a big metal cooler. So those are all the kind of hardware components, guys. So then we got talking about operating systems. So obviously we're going to be running Windows 10. I'm going to be supplying a Windows 10 professional key for that. I've got a line on getting really cheap keys, so it'll probably cost me £10 or less. I've actually done a video on that, guys. So guys, so then we got talking about the peripherals, because there's no point giving this guy a PC and he has no keyboard or mouse to use. Now, this PC is going to be a really good 1080p, possibly 1440p machine. So I thought it deserved a decent input device. So we talked about this, my friend and I, we talked about this, and in the end I convinced her that it was worth spending some money on the peripherals, especially on peripherals that will last a long time, and also enhance his experience as he moves into PC gaming or whatever else he's going to do. So both of the items we got here, we got on special offer, so we would not have purchased these at full price. In total, they cost £120 between the two, which I think is a really good deal. So we went with the Razer Black Widow Ultimate keyboard. No matter what was happening, I was suggesting you need to get a mechanical keyboard. I just think a mechanical keyboard is a must. Not just for gaming, but for daily life. So he's getting this bad boy. And those keys sound amazing. This thing weighs a ton. It's been a long time since I've had my hands on one of these. And to go with that, the only thing we could get is the, you know, ubiquitous Razer Death Adder, but we went with the Chroma version, just for that RGB bling, man. So he's gonna get a really good experience using these peripherals. The other thing that was discussed was the possibility of a dedicated monitor. That's not a choice we're going to make for him. We're going to let him decide whether or not he wants to do that further down the line, because that's quite a big investment. He's got a really good TV at the moment, so that'll suffice. He'll max the frame rate out in that television, no problem. I think it's a 70 Hz television, so he'll max that frame rate out, no bother. So guys, there are going to be two versions of this video. There's going to be a super long version, and there is going to be a kind of montage version. Now the super long version is going to be a complete guide to building a PC, because I haven't done one of those before, and the montage version is going to be sort of maybe 6 minutes long, and it'll show the end product. So I will link to the montage version here, so that you can click over and you can do that now. Okay guys, so let's do the first part of the build. Okay guys, so first things first, we're going to get our motherboard out of the box, but what you're going to need to do this is you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, and that's all you will need to do this build, I guarantee it. So I'll go through the normal process first of all. First thing to do, as you can see behind me, I've taken the case out of the box, and I also have the instructions for the case, just in case I need them. And then the next thing you do is just get your motherboard out. So let's open up the motherboard. So you will definitely need the I/O shield. You will need your motherboard. And you will need your motherboard manual. That's it. I don't need anything else. Normally you get like SATA cables and things like that. You should take all of that out of the motherboard box, because then you are going to use it as an anti-static mat, okay? So let's get this bad boy out. Here we go. So this is it. This is your motherboard, guys. So I know all of this is working. Normally, I'll tell you what I would do normally. Normally I would install the CPU and I would install the stock heatsink, plug everything in and do a test boot just to make sure that everything's actually going to run. I don't need to do that because I know this motherboard works. The CPU is actually already installed in this, but I'll go through the process with you. So I'll just take it out. So no matter whether it's Intel or AMD, there's one thing that holds true with all CPUs. They all require no force to install, and they will all have a little golden triangle in one corner of the CPU and a little golden triangle on one corner of the socket. And that is correct for all CPUs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and show you. I'll use my webcam for this if I can. So here is a CPU. Can you see the little golden triangle there? Well, that golden triangle is going to line up with the triangle here on this side of the socket. So all you do is you make sure you install it like that. Be really careful, you know, give it a little wiggle, and that's it. You don't need to push it. Then you just push this arm down like that. It slides under the retention clip, and that's it installed. That's your CPU installed, guys. Held in place. Simple as that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install our memory. So this is where you might need to consult your manual. So normally on a board like this, whether it's an FX chipset or if it's Z170 or whatever you're doing, it'll be dual channel memory, so you need to occupy 2 slots. So if you're putting in 2 DIMMs, then you're going to need your manual and you're going to need to find out which DIMMs to occupy first. Now, I'm occupying all 4, so it doesn't matter. I can just go ahead and load this bad boy up. So you just open up the clips I've only got clips on one side, so I don't need to worry about that. Now, when you're installing memory, the only thing you need to worry about is that you put it in the right way around, and it's really hard not to do that. So basically, you just line up the notch on the memory module with the notch in the slot, like this, and then you just push down, and that's it installed, guys. So let's go ahead and do the rest of these. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to get them lined up, but it should just slot in like that. And last one. Boom. So there we go. CPU, memory installed. The next thing you're going to want to do is install your cooler. So guys, here we go. Here's our cooler. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be using this Antec cooler. Now, I've never installed this before, so I am actually going to be looking at the instructions just to see how the back plate fit. Hi guys, so this is the back plate, so it's actually for Intel and AMD. So Intel are these fittings here. It's actually quite clever, so I'll take one of these parts. So you get these little kind of plastic clips and a little plastic kind of locking nut. So you choose whichever one you want. I want AMD, so you put it in there. You slide on this nut like this. If I can get it to go. It was really easy off camera. Great. There we go. And that just holds it in place. So then all you do is you lift up your board. And it should line up with the holes. And that is us. And I'm just going to hold that like that. And there you go. That's your back plate installed. No fuss, guys. Absolutely no fuss at all. Okay, guys, so here we go. We've got our block with its power connectors. And here's our radiator, 240 millirad. So this is what I was talking about. So you need to be careful here. So I know that I want Antec to be facing upright. So I know I want the block to be sat like that. Not like this, not any other way, not upside down. I want it to look like this. So you need to pay attention to things like that just now if you're going for a specific look, okay? So there we go. I'm going to leave that block there. I'm just going to get the AMD bracket. These both look identical, so I don't know which one to use actually. It's going to be that one. Yes, this one. Now, I have a slightly different technique for putting thermal paste on than most people, so don't hate me. It's just my way of doing things. A lot of people really disagree with this method, but it's what I've always done. It's what I'm always going to do, so don't bother moaning in the comments about this because I'm not going to change what I do, guys, okay? So anyway, let's get cracking. So first of all, we're going to give the CPU a little bit of a clean. So I've got these little alcohol wipes. I just want to make sure it's clean before I apply thermal paste. So let's give that a little bit of a clean there. Like that. Make sure there's no dust or anything around the socket. Get rid of anything. That. Yeah. Don't want any lint or anything. And that's really secure. So that should be fine. So I always use Noctua compound. You can use whatever you like. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. You know, there's no right or wrong way of doing this, basically. So there are lots of methods. I use the kind of finger method, which a lot of people aren't very keen on. But, you know, it works for me. It has worked for me for a very long time. So like I said, I'm not going to change what I'm doing anytime soon, so that's it, guys. So you're going to need a bit more than you'd normally need for an Intel CPU because the FX chip's quite big. So we're just going to put on a big bit of it. Probably way too much, most people would say. And we're going to close that up. Now, my finger's clean, so I'm just going to show you again. I just use a bit of alcohol, clean my finger up. And then you just want to take your finger and spread it over the die, or you can use the P method if you want to. This is just the way I've always done it. I've found that I get absolutely no problems using this method. But like I say, you know, whatever you feel comfortable with, go ahead and do that, okay? I just like getting a really good coverage over all the die. So that's why I do this. And you know, that's pretty even. So I'm quite happy with that. Now we're going to put pump on. And like I said, this is where you need to be careful if you have a particular orientation you want in mind. So what you'll need to do is make sure there's no film on this. So you peel off that film, which exposes the lovely clean bottom piece. So now let's get this bracket on. Get that out of the way. So once you've got your locking bracket in place, so I want it to go like this. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to put this down like that. Yeah, like that. Now, what you need now, so this is where it's kind of handy to have more than one person to do something like this, because you need to put these little washers on without losing them. Okay. Don't worry about touching anything at this point. I've built lots of computers without anti-static anything. You know, I'm not a fan of these anti-static armbands or anything like that. I've built computers on carpet plenty of times and I've never had any issues. So I think as long as you're careful, you shouldn't have any issues really. Just when you're doing this initially, just do the opposing corners and then you can take your hands off and you can put down the final screws, okay? But essentially guys, you're halfway there, that's it. So that's your CPU installed, your coolers installed, your memory is installed. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to prep your case. So we're just going to cut to that right now. Hey guys, so it's at this stage you want to get your case out and start prepping it. So by prepping it I mean remove the side panel and the back panel, put them in your case box to keep them safe, especially if you've got a windowed panel, you don't want to get that scratched. And then so you don't lose the screws, what I do is I just reinstall them where they were originally and then you're not going to lose them. So let's see what we got here. So here's all our IO. So I might actually leave that tied up at the moment until I decide what I'm going to do with it. But I am going to have to remove the top and the front of the case. So consult your manual on how to do this because you are going to need access. So I know that I can just pull. There we go. Now I need to remove these. These are the power connectors for the LED panel in the front. That's the LED panel in the front, so there's LEDs all the way down the front of this, which is the main reason for buying this case, I think, considering its price point. It doesn't look like it's going to be that easy to build in, but it's going to look really good once it's built. So I'm going to put this in the box out of the way so it doesn't get damaged. And now we're going to remove the top, which should be as easy as just pulling. There we go, that's it. That's it off. Right, great, so now we can actually see what we're dealing with. So this is where the radiator is going to mount, essentially, I would think is up here. Now, let's see, what do we need? Let's get rid of this fan cable for a minute, if I can. Let's poke it through there. Out of the way. Now, what you're going to have to do is figure out if you've got all the standoffs you need installed, basically. So this looks like it's set up for Mini ITX because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 installed, and I know I need 9. So what you can do is you can kind of eyeball it with your board, or you can consult your manual. So I think I know exactly where they need to go. So I'm going to get out 3 more standoffs. Okay guys, so we've got all of our standoffs installed now. So we've got one there, 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 and one there. So we've got 9 in total, which is what you need. So the next thing you need to do is you need to install your I/O shield. So what I would do is I would do a quick sanity check on the back of your motherboard to see how this fits. And there you go guys, so I actually had to remove this fan to get access to get the I/O shield in, so that leads me to believe this is going to be really tight building, which I'm not looking forward to. So okay guys, so here we go, we're going to put this motherboard in now. It's usually a bit easier again with 2 people, but literally all you've got to do is slide it in like that, and I'm just going to leave this there for the moment. Now let's have a look. Let's kind of, there we go. Now this is why I got my screws ready in advance guys, because I can get a couple in straight away and then I can forget about this largely. Sorry about the lighting guys, it's just kind of unfortunate, but I've got to live with it at the moment. I'm limited with cameras, etc. So I'm going to pop a screw in the middle there. And this is a magnetic screwdriver, so I advise you to use a magnetic screwdriver. If you've got access to one, they're really helpful things. I'll stick another screw in there. And then once I've got a few screws in, you can kind of take your time a bit more because it's a bit more secure. So that's 2 screws in, so now you can kind of forget a little bit about it and take your time. And just go around the computer, make sure all the screws are in. There should be 9 in total for an ATX board, so I'm going to do that and then I'll come back to you, okay? Hey guys, right, so we've got all of that installed. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put the fans on the pump, on the radiator, and then I'm going to mount the radiator up here. Hey guys, well as you can see, I have installed the radiator up here. It's quite cool actually being on this bracket because you can't see the fans at all, so you'll just see the illumination. I need to sort this out a bit. That's the pump CPU pin header, and this is the external SATA power for the pump, so I might just strip this wire apart and run it along this tube and have the SATA connector coming out maybe here or somewhere like that. I'm not sure yet. So around the back I've done a little bit of cable management off camera, which was quite difficult. Luckily the Antec include the splitter, so you can plug both your fans into that, and then this is plugged into the CPU2 fan header, and then I'll do something with this somewhere else. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do next is install the power supply. Hi guys, well I've got the power supply out of the box now. I was actually incorrect, so here's a 24 pin for the CPU. Here is the 8 pin for the CPU. Now this is good because they're nice and long, so I should be able to thread it up through here, I think, to keep it nice and neat. But it also has 2 PCIe connectors attached to it, so that's a bit annoying because I kind of thought these wouldn't be on the actual power supply itself, but you know, there's not much we can do about that. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. So it's up to you how you install your power supply. I tend to go fan down. Okay, so I do fan down just because I've always done that. Again, it's up to you, you don't have to do that. So basically the only other cable I need is I need a SATA cable for my SATA devices. So it's going to go in like that, and I want short cable runs, so I am going to plug them in here. This one's going to go in here. That's that installed. I need a Molex, remember. I'm thinking it's going to be quite tight around the back for cable management, unfortunately. So I need 2 of them, So I've got my SATA here, got my Molex here, and I got all my other cables here that I need for the graphics card, etc, etc. So I know I'm only going to be needing one PCIe connector, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bundle this one up so that it doesn't get in the way, guys. Just thinking ahead, because it looks like it's really tight in this case for management options. So let's just get that bundled up. Again, it kind of pays to think ahead when you're doing this kind of stuff, so I know I'm not going to be using it, so I might as well cable it up, keep it out of the way. I'm hoping this just slides in. Yeah, it does. So that just slides in like that. I just need to get these out of the way. Yeah, it's going to be tight. It looks really tight, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install these screws, and then I'm going to get right back to you guys, okay? Okay guys, so that's the power supply installed. So 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, that's it. Nice and simple. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. Now, I'm just going to turn this around and show you the kind of mess of cables we have at the moment. So I'm going to start running cables, guys. The 24 pin is easy enough, because the 24 pin is just going to come out here, like that. That's where that's going to go. In fact, I'll turn the whole thing around just now, because I would like to get that installed. So yeah, the 24 pin is going to come out here, and it's going to go in there like that. So I'm going to have to move these tubes a little bit. And the 24 pin. So these are all keyed, guys, so you can't really go wrong. There's a key there, and that'll clip. And it only plugs in one way. So that's going to go like that into the 24 pin. And there you go, that's it, it clicked. So you know it's engaged, and we pull this all the way back. The 8 pin, I'm still kind of convinced I might be able to get the 8 pin all the way up the back. Yeah, there we go. So that's the 8 pin through. But that was super tight. So the only thing I'm thinking when I look at this now is that the fan might interfere, guys. Well, let's see. Nah, there we go. The 8 pin is installed. So let's see what we've got around the back, guys. So that's your 8 pin power, which will be relatively easy to cable manage down here. I'm thinking here is your 24 pin, which again I can just kind of jank in there, flatten that cable down. The graphics card will be relatively simple as well. I'm thinking the graphics card should probably come out where this is as well, like there. That should do for the graphics card. So that's good, so that can get trained there too. That PCIe can get pushed back in here because we're not using it, so that can go in there. A handy amount of space to hide cables under there. This is the Molex, so this is just going to hide down in the basement for now until I need it. So I'll push that in there. And this is the SATA cables, so I'm going to need 2 down here for the drives. Like that probably. And then I'm going to run one up to the pump somewhere. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these drive cages out, and I'm going to install my drives. Okay guys, so we've got our hard drives on drive sleds. So I only use 2 screws for the SSD. There's no moving parts, you don't need to worry about it too much. You know, you can even just use double-sided tape I've used in the past. The mechanical drive, on the other hand, I have used all 4 screws, so they're on their sled. So I'm just going to put them in and see how they look. So that one's going to go there. That one is going to go up here out of the way. Once we can get it in, there it goes. That one's going to go like that. So that looks okay, actually. It's not too bad. So let's go ahead and get some power run to them. So there we go, there's power to 1. So this is going to be a bit more tricky. There's power to the second hard drive. Now, let's slide that back in. We'll leave that up there because we need a SATA connector for the pump header. So that's that done. What I should do now is run my SATA cables from the motherboard down to these devices here. So here we go. So I'm going to plug that in there like that. So there we go, that's that. Let's use the straight end. Right, okay, so let's have a look at where these are going to run to. We can run them through here. Now, normally I would say look at your motherboard manual to see which of these is which, but because this is my old motherboard, I know exactly which one's which. So I know that this is SATA port 1 down there, and I know that the one beside it is number 2. And there we go, that's the drives done. So that's not bad, and the graphics card sits here. So I'm probably going to use this power connector here. I'll pin those together and then run that back in there to keep it reasonably tidy. So that can go there for the moment. What else do we want to do just now? So what have we got? 8-pin power done. 24-pin power done. Although I'm going to train that a bit better. Radiator is installed. Our drives have power and our drives have data connections. So what else? Oh yes, now we need to sort this connection out here. So this looks really ghetto. It was absolutely fine. All I'm doing is splitting off the cable, and I'm gonna run it up here through there, right the back, and there we go. We should be able to get SATA power no problem now. And here is the power for our pump. So just figure out which way that goes. That goes like that. So our pump now has power as well. So that's the pump completely plugged in, fans, everything. I'm going to install this fan just now, the intake fan, just to get that out of the way. So you're going to need screws like this, guys. These really, really long screws. Okay. So let's figure out where are we going to thread this in. So I'm probably going to take it in cables. Probably going to go in there. I could probably tidy it up a wee bit if I want to. A lot of the fans in this case, apart from the rear fan, are going to be hidden. And there we go, guys. We have got an intake fan. Awesome. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and have a go at the front I/O, just to get a few of these things plugged in first. Yeah, there we go. So that's that on. So you can kind of see the radiator is going to be completely hidden. Let's get rid of the big things. So one of the big things is this. This is USB 3, guys, and it's keyed. Can't really go wrong with this. So I'm going to try and route it. And that means I can do this. And I can plug in the USB 3 header, which goes in there. And that's it. USB 3 is now connected. And what are these? These should be audio, front panel audio, and USB 2. HD audio and USB 2, which they are awesome. If I turn this around, oh, that's pretty nifty actually. That's not bad. So then I can just run this down here. And you need to look at your manual, guys, to find your audio port. Don't worry about it, I just know where mine is. So that's mine there. And that's my audio, HD audio installed. So I think I'm going to run the USB 2 the same way. Okay, so let's have a look. Right, and this is USB. So that's the USB in, and that is so that's USB 2, that's my HD audio. So at the bottom, it's out of the way. The other things I have to connect are the RGB power, this Molex, which isn't a problem, a fan for the front fan, and my front panel connectors, which are way down here. Again, they should be really easy to connect. Cool. So that's kind of most of that out of the way, guys. Now, I think the next thing we're going to do, because all it's really got to go in now is the front panel I/O down here, and this to get slotted behind, and that's kind of most of the cables up the front done, and then I'll install a fan, I'll tidy this up, and that's really it. So I think what we need to do now is we need to get the graphics card installed, the main event. Again, I know this card works, so we're in a good space. So let's take it out of its protective covering. There it is, it's a beast. Close this up, because again, I'm not going to need that. So again, it's at this point, guys, that you're going to want to consult your motherboard manual to know which slot to put this in. Again, this is my old board. So, you know, I know for a fact it has to go in the top slot. So I know I need to remove these top two PCIe covers. And then we can get the old card installed. So we're going to get this graphics card installed now. And that's the last kind of big item. Now you see I made a mistake. I took out the top two, whereas it should be that one, and the top one should stay in. So you see, guys, it's really easy to make a mistake. So I wouldn't, you know, if you're having a hard time when you're building, don't ever get too despondent, because, you know, it happens to everyone. Everyone has moments where they're like, God, this is never going to be done. What have I done wrong? I mean, like, even though I know all the components in this PC are working, you know, because I've tested them all, like the motherboard and everything, there's nothing to say that it's not going to boot or it's not going to post. You know, that's a possibility. I'm just sort of 96% sure that it will post. Hi guys, so we've done a bit of cable routing, as you can see. So pretty much everything I think is plugged in, bar the front panel I/O. So that is your power LED, hard disk drive, and power switch. Now it's down here, you guys probably can't see it, but my one's labeled. So I actually have this little header that I'm usually not a big fan of, because this is so hard to get to, I think I am actually gonna use it this time around. Normally I wouldn't bother, but like I said, because this is, you know, a bit difficult to get to. So where are we? Power switch goes there, and like that. Reset goes on here. So guys, that's the front panel connectors plugged in, so that's pretty much everything. So I have power plugged in and I have Ethernet plugged in for when I got to install the hardware. So I suppose all that's left to do is turn this thing on and see if it actually boots. So that's it. And then there's power. Power's up here somewhere. Where are we? There we go. That's a good sign. Fans are ramping up. I'm mashing F2 at the moment. BIOS, so first time, guys, that's pretty good. Well, that's it, guys. I'm gonna get everything installed, get the side panel on this, and then I'm gonna deliver it to the owner, I think. But that's how easy it is to build a PC. Pretty easy, really. Well guys, that's the system built. It's powered on, and I think it looks pretty good actually, to be honest. It's a very compact form factor, but it was a lot of fun to build. It booted first time, which is always always a bonus. So guys, I hope this shows you how easy it is to build your own PC, even in a small space like I've got. And I hope it shows you that you can also recycle parts. Everything doesn't need to be new, but a mix of new and old isn't bad. I'm gonna go and deliver this now because I've installed Steam and all these other things. I just went to Ninite.com and installed it all in a big bundle. So I'm gonna get on out of here, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, give it a big thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Don't forget to comment. I love reading your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for some more great tech content coming soon. Bye now.